Roots and Roofs, where we explore the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship in the real estate world. I am your host, Mackenzie Shelton. Join us as we dive into the unique journey of balancing family life with owning a thriving real estate business. Each episode, we will uncover inspiring stories, practical tips, mindset conversations, and expert insights from others who are carving their paths in the real estate industry. Whether you are a seasoned realtor, a prospective buyer, or simply curious about the dynamics of managing both home and career, Roots and Roofs is your go-to podcast for heartfelt discussions and invaluable advice. Tune in and discover how these incredible women are building deep roots from the ground up while nurturing their families under the same roof.
Okay, good.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Roots and Roofs. I am Mackenzie, the host, and I have a really awesome guest with me today, Sarah Pierce. She is a local real estate agent in the Omaha area. So Sarah, why don't you just start with introducing yourself, telling everybody a little bit about you, and then we'll kind of get into our conversation.
Sounds good. Yeah, my name's Sarah Pierce. I'm a local real estate agent. I've been licensed for about 8 years now, and I'm actually from the Omaha area originally, so born and raised. And I have 4 kids. They're all 6 and under, so our house is crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And then I also work alongside my husband, Brad. So he joined the business in 2023 and then has been with me since. So it's fun being able to work with a spouse. And he's also still in the Army National Guard, so also in a military spouse role as well.
Awesome. Well, that's great. So let's just kind of, since you mentioned your husband, one of my first questions was, you and your husband run your real estate business together. What roles do each of you play, and how do you make that partnership work both professionally and personally?
Yeah, it's definitely taking some adjustments over the last 2 years. When he first started working with me, he was solely our transaction coordinator. I had a previous one that I was using, and he was kind of getting burnt out from working with the state. He had been there for a few years, and through the pandemic in the Department of Labor, it was a lot. So he was looking for a change, and we had 3 kids at the time at home, and so he decided to join me as the transaction coordinator, and then also kind of a stay-at-home dad role. So he was kind of filling both of those shoes. And things were getting busier with work, and so we figured might as well get licensed so that you can fully help with everything too. So now we've transitioned. We're in our 2nd year of working together with him being licensed, and he's definitely the numbers guy. So he's kind of more of behind the scenes, running our accounting numbers, and also kind of just making sure we're on track for our goals for the year. He loves spreadsheets, where I'm like, just give me the recap. Like, I don't need to go in there every single day, but he's great. So he's keeping us on track with that. And then he's also taken more of the kind of almost like a buyer's agent role for us. And then I'm focusing more on the listing side of things.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
great. So just curious, like, what were your numbers last year, and where are you kind of projecting things for this year, just so people kind of have a frame of reference?
Sure. Last year, I think we were right around 40 transactions, and he had, I believe, 7 of those as in his first year. So I thought that was really great for a first-year agent.
Yeah.
And this year, I think we're around 20. I should know this, but that's his thing. But volume-wise, we've actually almost surpassed what we were at last year for the whole year. So I think he's really getting into the groove of everything. And then we just hired a showing agent to help us as well.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting. So, okay, so tell me a little bit about like your showing agent. What's their kind of role? And even if you're willing to share, like, how you're kind of structuring compensation for them and things like that. Because I have people ask me that, because I also have a showing assistant. So it's always just good to hear what other people are doing.
Yeah, we're in like week 2, so it is brand new with everything. But we realized that with 4 kids being young, and only 1 is actually in full-time school, and then 1 is in full-time daycare with a 9-month-old also. So we just realized even with 2 of us, we still couldn't be everywhere that we needed to be and still being present with the kids, because that's our whole reason behind all of this. It's not about the money. It's about being able to provide for them and experience time with them while they're still little, because they grow up quickly, as you know.
Yes.
And so that was kind of where we came from of hiring her. She's a newer agent, came over from a different brokerage, was kind of looking for some changes. And right now we're kind of in like a trial period with it. So compensation is per door right now.
Okay.
And then she's also assisting with open houses too for us if we have too many that we can do in a weekend.
Sure.
And then also giving her some opportunities too without being kind of like the full team, which is kind of cool that our brokerage allows us to have kind of a team but not be a team technically. And once we get done with that trial period, then we're going to move into more of like a commission based for the transaction that she helps with.
Sure. Perfect. Awesome. I love that. So I'll tell you what we're doing just because this might give you some inspiration. So we have we're almost running like two models within our team. So we have members of the team that are, basically independent agents that can take listings and buyers and, do all of those things. And then I actually, a couple of years ago, brought on a brand new agent who was kind of in a spot where he's pretty young, and so he didn't have like a huge database and a lot of people that would maybe be looking to buy or sell with just how young he is. So we set him up that he gets a we call it a gas stipend, but it's really just like a small 1099 salary that he gets every single month. And then when he helps with buyers, he gets 15% of each of those deals. And then he also helps with listings, so like running signs, lock boxes, meeting contractors, all of those things. And we set it up that he would get 5% of each listing that he helps with. And really, just because of the volume that also the other agents on the team can use him as well. So between myself and some of the other agents on the team, like he's
busy.
He's busy and he's doing pretty well. So
that's awesome.
So that's just our structure. I know Brittany McAllister, she's been on my podcast. She also has a showing assistant, and I know she kind of set hers up, relatively the same. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. So you mentioned all four of your children.
Yes.
So with four small kids in the mix, how are you kind of managing daily work operations and all the things that you need to accomplish with work, but still finding time to be present at home, because you mentioned how important that was to you?
Yeah, it's taken some adjustments. There's no perfect day or perfect week. And our goals, like we have a real estate coach that helps us too. And when we go into our yearly planning, like one of our big things is really trying to not work more than 30 hours a week, which is difficult when you're wanting to run a business that is at the volume and the production that you want. But I think having kind of that number of hours per week that we want to work lets us kind of backwards plan and figure out our priorities. Maybe it's referring out a transaction that's not worth our time, or if it's in a location where it doesn't make sense for us to drive all the way out there. So that kind of gives us some basis for that. And so with that, like I mentioned, we don't have really 4 kids in full time, even during the school year, they're not. So Brad and I have kind of broken down like which days we're working and which ones that we're actually helping with the kids. And then if something comes up, we're flexible with it. So we essentially each get 3 days because we do have family in town that helps us. So that's nice that we each get some time frame to work. And then the weekends, we kind of just figure out what needs to be done on those two with open houses or working with clients.
Awesome. That's great. I love that idea. So my husband and I also, he was a plumber for several years, and at the end of 2020, stepped out of that job, and he does have his home inspection certification. So he does do that, but we also bought a couple of years ago, we bought a small farm, and so he's home a lot more than even I am at this point with just the way our team is running and things like that. And so we have struggled with this. That's a really good idea, because I guess you kind of inspired me. Like, we're kind of in this spot where we're almost just trying to figure it out every day, like who's going to be home, who's not, that sort of thing. And it's like, there's some weeks where it's like, oh my gosh, this is not working, the way that we need it to. But,
exactly.
or we're scrambling to find a family member or friend who can watch the 8-year-old who isn't quite old
Yeah.
enough to stay at home all day by himself yet.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we also do a Sunday evening business planning for like the week. So we're looking over the calendar and seeing, do we need to adjust something too?
Yeah.
And with also him still being in the military, like there's weekends where he's gone, or in the past few years, there's like 2 to 3 weeks in the summer that he's gone too. So
Sure.
also being upfront with our clients too, that we are running a family and a business at the same time, and making sure that we're working with clients that they may understand that I have a baby at a walkthrough, or if it's summer break, the kids might be with us. And I think just being upfront with them, they're more likely to be okay with everything too. And I think the pandemic really taught everyone that your kids may be in the background while you're working too.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like the past probably 5 years, I've really just answered the phone and been like, if you hear my kids in the background, it's because I'm at home right now.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep, for sure. So, going back to kind of talking about your husband here a little bit, do you guys ever have disagreements on business strategy or, kind of the direction that you want to take things? And how do you kind of navigate that as partners in both business and in life?
Yeah, there's definitely disagreements, just like a normal marriage would have. And then being business partners on top of it, it's also hard to kind of turn things off too. Like it's very easy to keep the conversations about business. And so trying to find a balance of that is kind of difficult too. But yes, with the disagreements, like I've always ran a referral-based business. That's how I was taught when I got into it. And I prefer that over cold calling, door knocking, all of those kind of more traditional ways. And so we do a lot of like client events, pop buys, all of that kind of marketing that's more towards our past clients, and getting the referrals from them. And so I love the parties where if he was doing this by himself, it would not be how he was running the business. And so with him being very numbers oriented, he's always wanting to make sure that what we're doing actually does have like an ROI on it too, where it's kind of when you're getting caught up in doing those things, you might not necessarily look at those. So it's nice. I'm more of the creative, visionary in things, and he's more of the business side of everything too.
Well, you guys probably balance each other
We do.
really well
Yeah.
as far as that goes. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So I'm guessing he's a little more introverted and you're maybe a little more extroverted.
Honestly, I think we're both introverted too, like introverted extrovert too. So
Sure.
I think just when I'm enjoying doing something, I'm definitely more likely to be extroverted about it. But both of us are homebodies. We would prefer to be home versus going out and doing something. Like when we do a client event, we need like 3 days to decompress afterwards. Even though we're very happy to do them, and we love doing them. Like I couldn't imagine growing a business a different way, but it's also exhausting at the same time.
Yes, for sure. You want to know what? I'm a hardcore extrovert, and I still, even as I've gotten older, been like, man, I need a break after I have to go socialize with people for a whole day.
Yep.
I feel that. Okay, so let's kind of shift gears here a little bit. You actually have a pretty big social media following, especially for, real estate agents in the Omaha area. I don't know any that have like massive, followings. So I've noticed that on Instagram, you have probably 6,000 followers or so?
Yeah, I think close to 7
awesome.
now. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's great. I haven't looked in a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
no, I haven't either. So,
So let's kind of talk a little bit about that. You are really good at creating content and kind of driving people to your social media pages. So what types of content do people kind of resonate better with, whether it's, personal, educational, like whatever it is that's kind of working for you? What's the secret sauce?
I think really the lifestyle content. I think when we got into the business about a decade ago, I think because you're probably been in just about as long as I have.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it was just listed under contract. I just sold this house, and you really never saw the agent's picture in it either. It was just the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for people to connect with that, where if you come from the lifestyle approach of it, no one's buying a home every single month or every single day. And so I was kind of originally taught try to focus more on 80% personal and 20% business. Because if you're connecting with someone on whether it's kids or homesteading or just homeschooling, like any of these other things that do encompass everyone's daily life, they're going to more likely connect with you. And then when they do need a real estate related item, you're the first one that they're going to think of. And so when I kind of shifted my content to more of the lifestyle approach, that's when I really started seeing things grow. And then also when Reels came out on Instagram, Reels are pushing you in front of people that don't follow you. And your followers still see them, but it's not with the algorithm. It's not getting in front of them as much as the people that don't follow you. And I've actually kind of stepped back a little bit on how much content I've been putting out. I think it was 2 years ago, I posted a reel every single day in September was the month. And that's when my account grew, and I've kind of maintained it a little bit.
Sure.
But I think I had like 3,000 followers in that time frame add onto my account, which some of them are not necessarily your ideal client, but it's definitely produced business from it. And so I think Reels on social media or TikTok, like those kind of things where it's more of a video content versus like a stationary picture, tend to have a lot more interactions with them too.
Sure. So tell us a little bit. I did not know that you did this. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about like what did you do in that month? Did you have like a plan in place, or what did that kind of look like?
Yeah, it was different topics. So I was trying to do like maybe a buyer tip, and then like a seller tip was one day, and then focusing on some of them were towards like agent attraction. With our being a cloud-based brokerage, there's benefits to that too. And then kind of like personal mixed in there too. And I had a couple go like really viral, and that didn't have my face on them either. It was more of like, here's a pretty home, but here's education behind it. And so those were some of the ones that got pushed out. I think there's a couple had like over 500,000 views on them.
Wow.
And lots of saves and shares. And so it's not just the likes when it comes to social media. You want to create content that someone wants to save and share. Like those are the biggest metrics that Instagram or even TikTok, if you're going on that platform, that's what they really are pushing. And that was a few years ago. And so things have even changed more so in that direction since then.
Wow, that is so cool. Maybe I'll have to try to do that.
Yeah.
I would like, so I definitely have the most followers on Facebook, which is fine. It doesn't really matter to me. But I've been wanting to try to grow Instagram really, again, just for like the potential attraction, either for people to join my team, and get into real estate, or, for client attraction. And I've kind of been stuck with like, it's almost like the analysis paralysis, right? It's like, what do I actually do to like get people to follow me? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna maybe have to do a challenge like that. That is really cool.
I think the consistency, like you definitely don't need to post every single day. I think 3 to 5 per week is kind of like a sweet spot.
Sure.
And I probably should take my own advice because, like I said, it's having another baby. Like I've just kind of been in that rut this year. And I think even if you're not necessarily posting like on your feed, like a static post or a reel, like at least being active on stories and kind of showing like the behind the scenes, like that's where I probably get most of the interactions with, whether it's our dog or the kids going to the pool, but also mixing in the real estate stuff. And I know there's rules behind like what you're technically allowed to share and not, but I at least try to show in, like if I'm doing like an inspection walkthrough, like showing that you are still in the business, and that you're not necessarily just showing just personal the entire time too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I've had to balance that as well. I'm definitely more active on my stories than anything else. And I've had to be like, oh, I actually should like show people that I'm out there meeting clients and all the things, because sometimes I just get wrapped up in the personal stuff. So, yeah.
I think it's important too, because there are people out there that think that real estate agents are overpaid door openers. And so I think showing all of the behind the scenes without like, I don't know, without putting too much of like what we do out there, but it shows like there's a lot that goes on, and like we are worth what we charge, especially with like the changes with the commissions in the last year, and that buyers, like they're going out there, they're interviewing multiple agents when they're hiring someone now, because they have a little more skin in the game, even though they did before. Now it's just more black and white and transparent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we're actually noticing that. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So yes, so we are seeing within our team, we do a small amount of online leads, and we don't do a ton by any means. I like to teach, like you talked about, I like to teach our agents to get business through their sphere and referral-based, and kind of grow organically more than not. And sometimes with the online lead sources, it can feel very transactional rather than building a deep relationship. So, but even then, the ones that we are getting, they are noticing that buyers are being very, very choosy about who they're kind of working with, and they may only sign the buyer agreement for that specific house, and then the agent is having to kind of like continue to try to capture them as a client moving forward. So it is very interesting.
Yeah, which I think it's a good thing. Like, especially, I think we're seeing that more with the move-up buyers. Like, they've been through at least one home purchase with someone, and maybe they either got burnt on that or they felt like they weren't educated properly. We've had a few of those that they're not using the same agent, and that stat's out there. I think it's like, what is it, under 30% of clients use the same agent that they used in the last transaction.
It's funny, the stat is like, it's like somewhere between 85 and 90% say that they had a good transaction and that they would use their agent again. But then when it actually comes time, they don't.
Yeah, I think it's like 24, 27. Like, it's not very much at all. Yeah, so I think that's super interesting. And so we've had a few in the last month where they're interviewing multiple agents, and they're asking a lot of really good questions. And I think it's like these changes that we had last year, I honestly think, while we have more paperwork that we have to deal with, I think they were needed for the industry, where unfortunately, there are a lot of agents out there that should not have a license. They're not educating their clients. And I mean, these are their clients' biggest purchases of their home or of their life. Buying a home, selling a home, there's a lot of emotions tied to it. And I think we need to be there to guide them. And at least this paperwork, now, like putting things up front from that first consultation, whether it is signing for just one property to go look at it, or if it's signing it for like a longer term, I think it's a good change. Yeah, so it's kind of like, we call it like dating and marrying with the forms. Like, I think the single buyer or the single property is like more of a dating, like figure out if you want to, and then you can go ahead and get married and do like the longer term agreement.
Yep, absolutely. We've used that term several times with like realtor.com leads, that sort of thing. And actually, that one of the things that we have helped buyers with, to kind of, especially if we are just meeting them, we don't know them, they don't know us, they don't, other than us presenting, here's how we can help you and here's the things that we're going to do for you, they don't know that we're going to actually commit to all those things, right?
Correct.
So one of the things that we've kind of offered is like, if at any point, like, you really are unhappy with us, like, we will let you out of this agreement, right? Just like we would for a seller, right? If a seller wants to cancel a listing, I don't know too many real estate agents that would be like, nope, you have to do it until the very end,
Then everyone's miserable at that point. Like,
I don't want to work with you if you don't want to work with me, right? That's not a good experience for anybody. Agreed. Yep. So let's kind of go back a little bit to the content stuff, because you had mentioned when you were doing that in September that you ended up gaining a lot of followers and some of them had a ton of views. So was there like a specific social media post that you did that you felt like really helped with that? Or was it just kind of the whole 30 days that you did it?
I don't think it was necessarily one single post. I think it was the consistency behind it. And the algorithms on social media, they reward people who are putting content out. And so you can go in and look at your metrics and figure out like the watch time, the share, like the total shares, and it can break down in like a 1 week time frame or 30 days. So you can actually break it down in however you really want to look at it. And it was more so like the entire 30-day window that seemed to have like it was like the blocks were building on top of each other. Sure. And it finally, like towards the end, was rewarding it. And I think at that time too, I was doing like a home tour like every single week. And those were helping get more in front of like the local people because of the way the algorithms work, and like noticing not necessarily just hashtags, but if you're using like words inside the video, it can recognize that too. And so we were doing like, what does X amount get you in Omaha, Nebraska, or whatever suburb it was at the time. So I think that if someone's struggling with putting out content, that is a super easy way to do it. And I would batch those. I would go walk model homes like once a month and then just get 4 to 5 videos. And then you're creating a bank of videos. So if you are in a rut and you don't want to go out and film content, at least that's one thing a week that you can put out. And builders, at least the ones I've encountered, love that because then you're getting their name out there as well.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Did I see that? Are you working with a builder now?
We're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that you had.
We had interviewed with one because they found us through our social media.
Oh.
So that was kind of like, even though we didn't get that, my friend actually is repping them now too. So like it all worked out in the end.
Yeah.
But it was nice to know like everything that we're doing, like people are recognizing it, even if we're not necessarily, they're not liking things or sharing them. Like they're still watching, like we call them like silent lurkers. Like they're still watching it. And we've had transactions from people that came from, like we ask them like, hey, how did you find us? And they say Instagram. And I go back and I look and like they've never interacted once. And we had one last fall and she had been following, I think, for like 3 years, because you can see how long someone's been following you. Because I was curious, like I was like, I didn't recognize her name anywhere. And she's like, no, I've been like digesting your content for the last 3 years. I'm ready to buy my first house. And like she was like pre-approved, ready to go, like an A+ client.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So have you like kind of seen an uptick in that, or was that kind of a one-off?
We get I'd say they're more frequent now. And a lot of them they're more of the ones that we are having conversations with. Like we try to, on stories, I try to make them interactive. Like whether it's like making a poll on there, like that's an easy one. Or the little like slider bar that's like, do you like this or not? Kind of thing. So I think if you can make your stories interactive, it does open up the conversation a little bit easier with people that are following you.
Sure, that's awesome. These are all such great ideas. Okay, so a couple questions, since this is a podcast about being a mom and all of those things. What advice would you give to other moms who want to build a real estate business while raising a young family?
Yeah. Give yourself grace. It's hard. Like it's hard enough running a business, but then also running a family. I don't have older kids. Like mine are all younger, so I don't know what that season of life will look like. I've heard that you're just as busy and you have just as little sleep because there's other concerns that you have to deal with. But trying to like be present every single day, know that you're going to lose business because maybe you aren't able to go show a home at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But again, back to your kids are only little for so long and at home for so long, like 18 years. And I think there's always going to be business. And so just give yourself grace. And I think also like your kids are watching you too, and you're teaching them like how to manage multiple things at one time. They pick up on like the littlest thing. Like our kids, instead of playing house, they play showing houses.
Oh my
so
gosh,
it's
that's
fun.
so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, and I think also some people are afraid to like show their kids. Like, and I don't think you necessarily have to include them. Like if you are trying to post content, I think you can still show that you are being a present parent and then also running a business at the same time. But also like your kids, whether they're in sports or different activities, like those are also great ways to network organically if you're not one that wants to go out and do cold calling and those things too.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you a part of like any moms groups or anything like that to kind of?
Not really.
No?
Like,
Okay.
I think like my oldest, he's in baseball and like just the PTO in school and different things. Like I'm not super involved in there, but
Sure.
just kind of showing up to those different things without necessarily wearing like a EXP Realty or the Pierce Group shirts or anything too.
Yeah.
But just being present in your community, I think goes a long way too.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Yes. Yeah, that I've actually talked about this on previous podcasts. One of the things that I did, because we did move from Omaha to Southwest Iowa back in 2017 was I did join a mom's group, and I really was not joining it to like network. That wasn't the goal. The goal was really, I just wanted to have some friends that also had, you know, kids, and that sort of thing. But what ended up manifesting from that was like, I got 7 deals in just a couple years. That's
awesome.
Just from the fact of like, you know, trying to be friends with some of the moms in the group. So yeah. That kind of stuff is really cool. Like when you transition from, or I don't know, I've always been in real estate as a parent, but I've seen other agents who, you know, have gone from being, you know, either a single person or, you know, just a married person to then a parent, and their business kind of like grows just organically because they're in different activities and things that they wouldn't have normally gotten to meet people through. So yeah, I love that. Okay, last question here. Looking ahead, what is your vision for your business and your brand as your kids grow older and as your business is going to kind of evolve?
Yeah, I've never really had the desire to like run a larger team. I mean, that could always change, but I think like right now we've kind of in our sweet spot with like the 2 of us, and then also having the showing agent, and maybe we grow that a little bit more and have a couple of those that are able to assist us as we need to. But also we are kind of hoping to do more of the agent attraction, but outside of the Omaha Metro. So helping agents outside, like I love coaching, and like whether it's social media, like I'm big into farming, like our neighborhood that we live in, we've been doing that for 6 years now. So just giving agents like that advice that aren't necessarily local either. Like I'm totally down to helping local agents too. Like I think there's plenty of business for everyone to go around. There's no reason, like the collaboration over competition is big for me.
100% agree. Yeah.
Because I think, I mean, if I'm putting out information and I can help you get another listing, that could be something that my buyer ends up buying. Like there's, it all goes back and forth. So yeah, the agent attraction, like I would love to grow my organization within my brokerage throughout the country. And then we, as the kids get more into school, like we would like to get more into like the investment properties side of things. Otherwise just again, like kind of stay with that 30 hours a week, or even I would love to be less, but I think that's kind of a sweet spot. We're still doing the business that we want to do, and then also having the family time too.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I think you gave everybody really good nuggets of wisdom, and I wish you all of the success in 2025 and beyond, and I'm sure that this won't be the last time that we get together.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Roots and Roofs podcast today. If you loved today's episode, please let me know. I love hearing from you on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to send me a DM or tag me in your stories so I can share it too. If you're looking for more information about today's topic, please visit my website, mahoganyacres.com, and all of the information that is listed in the show notes below. Until